In 1994, a devastating motorcycle accident shattered the leg of one of hip-hop's most mysterious figures, and for over a decade, rumors swirled about what really happened to Terminator X. But this crash wasn't the end of his story. It was just one chapter in the incredible journey of Norman Rogers, the silent architect who helped build the sound of a revolution and became a rock and roll Hall of Fame legend. Picture this. You're at a Public Enemy concert in the late 1980s. On stage, you see Chuck D delivering powerful speeches, Flavor Flav bouncing around with his clock, and then there's this imposing figure behind the turntables. He never speaks. He never smiles. He just stands there in his dark sunglasses, hands moving like lightning across the records. This was Terminator X, and his silence was louder than any microphone. The name wasn't random. Chuck D gave him the title because he was terminating all the nonsense. The X represented the unknown, destroying everything people thought they knew. Norman Rogers didn't just take this name, he became it. He built this mysterious character that was so powerful, it inspired an entire generation. Basketball superstar Shaquille O'Neal later told Chuck D that he wanted to be Terminator X when he was a kid. Before he was this legendary figure, Norman Rogers was just a music-loving kid from Long Island. He carried around a small blue AM radio, soaking up everything from the soulful melodies of Dionne Warwick to the pop craftsmanship of Elton John. This broad musical palette formed a foundation for the genre-bending work he would later create. His first attempts at DJing were simple, using the pause button on a cassette player to make his own primitive mixtapes and even mimicking the moves he heard from the masters. Everything changed when cassette tapes started circulating in his neighborhood, capturing the raw energy of hip-hop's founding fathers like DJ Kool Herc, DJ Hollywood, and Grandmaster Flash. These tapes were dispatches from the front lines of a burgeoning culture. Back then, as Rogers recalls, the DJ ruled everything. MCs had to ask permission just to use the microphone. This DJ-centric hierarchy left an indelible mark on his artistic philosophy. The moment that sealed his fate came when a neighbor from Brooklyn let him try spinning records on real turntables. As Rogers himself said, "I was hooked forever." He studied two masters who shaped his approach. First was Grandmaster Flash, who Rogers called the DJ King, and whose early work with the beatbox on tracks like Flash It to the Beat represented to him the birth of rap music. Flash showed him that DJing was about foundational creativity and innovation. Second was DJ Jazzy Jeff, the first truly high-skilled DJ who brought technical precision to the art form. Rogers combined both approaches, understanding that the ultimate DJ needed to be both a master curator who could pick the perfect beat to move a crowd and a virtuoso performer who could transform that sound into something entirely new. When Rogers joined Public Enemy's production unit, the Bomb Squad, his role was essential. While producers like Hank Shocklee built dense soundscapes, Terminator X provided aggressive scratching that cut through the chaos. His scratches weren't just decoration. They were a voice in the beautiful storm, as confrontational as Chuck D's lyrics. His most famous moment came from mastering the Transformer scratch. This technique, developed by DJ Spinbad and popularized by DJ Jazzy Jeff, involved rapidly moving the crossfader to chop sustained sounds into stuttering rhythms, reminiscent of the transforming sound effect from the popular 1980s cartoon. Rogers taught himself this technique and perfected it on tour until it became his secret weapon. The Transformer scratch's most iconic use was on Rebel Without a Pause in 1987. When Hank Shocklee asked for scratches on the song, Rogers experimented with a Chubb rock record, manipulating a guitar sample until it sounded completely alien. The result was a screeching, metallic sound that perfectly matched the song's urgent beat and blaring horn samples. The innovation was so radical that Chuck D absolutely hated it at first, but Shockley understood its power and fought to keep it in. This became what Rogers calls his most famous moment on wax. On Public Enemy's 1988 masterpiece, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, Terminator X's work became essential to the album's revolutionary sound. The record was a landmark of the golden age of hip-hop, a dense collage of found sounds, avant-garde noise, and old-school funk, Critics struggled to find words for what they heard. Rolling Stone described it as a Molotov cocktail of nuclear scratching, and specifically praised DJ Terminator X's tornado scratching. This wasn't just turntablism for show. It was political agitation translated into sound. Public Enemy's music was designed to be confrontational, to reproduce the stress and alienation of urban black life. Terminator X's scratches functioned like sonic sirens, shattering glass or bursts of static. His hands weren't just playing records, they were scoring a revolution. The sonic assault continued on 1990's Fear of a Black Planet. The album pushed density even further, creating what critics called a claustrophobic backs against the wall feel, with a production philosophy of layering loops on top of loops on top of loops. Terminator X's work evolved with this sound, becoming even more integral to the record's chaotic brilliance. His techniques became more nuanced, serving as direct musical commentary on the tracks. As his profile grew, Rogers released 2 solo albums in the early 1990s. His 1991 debut, Terminator X and the Valley of the Jeep Beats, reached number 97 on the Billboard 200. The single, Homie Don't Play Dat, hit number 1 on the Hot Rap Singles chart. His second album, 1994's Superbad, featured hip-hop legends like Cool DJ Herc, Grandmaster Flash, Ice Cube, and MC Lyte. But just as his solo career was developing, everything changed. In 1994, Rogers suffered that devastating motorcycle accident. The crash was brutal, shattering his leg and requiring a full month of hospitalization. This forced recovery gave him time for deep reflection. The physical trauma combined with growing cynicism about the music industry. Rogers later described the business using a powerful analogy. The music business is like the worst street in the worst neighborhood you can think of. You can be robbed, pimped, hustled, misled, and everything else. This disillusionment ran so deep that he didn't want anything to do with it. In 1998, after the He Got Game soundtrack, Norman Rogers officially retired from Public Enemy. Following his departure, Rogers relocated to a 15-acre farm in Vance County, North Carolina. This move gave rise to the widely circulated story that he had become an ostrich farmer. The image was compelling. The silent, menacing DJ from the world's most dangerous band now tending giant, flightless birds. However, the popular narrative contains a factual error. Rogers is still frequently misrepresented in the media as an ostrich farmer, when the venture actually involved emus. More importantly, this wasn't a solitary retreat. The farm was a family business. His involvement was short-lived. Citing disagreements over the farm's operation, he stated, "I didn't agree on the way things were being done, so I stepped out." He hasn't been involved since the early 2000s. The ostrich farmer myth became hip-hop folklore, a simple narrative explaining the sudden disappearance of a figure who chose to walk away from the spotlight. After more than a decade of silence, Rogers began re-emerging. The pivotal moment came in 2013 with Public Enemy's induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His industry bitterness almost kept him away, but attending proved transformative. Listening to stories from music legends like Quincy Jones rekindled his passion, making him realize he shouldn't let the music business keep me away from my love of music. Another significant factor was discovering modern DJ software. Having leapt before the digital revolution, he was unfamiliar with Serato until preparing for the Hall of Fame performance. He immediately embraced the technology, calling it the best thing to happen to DJs since the turntable, because it solved every annoying problem like turntable rumble, skipping records, and carrying heavy vinyl crates. For this analog master, new technology wasn't betrayal, but liberation. It provided a bridge from past passion to present capabilities. His re-entry was gradual. In 2013, he started the Edge of Panic radio show on Chuck D's rapstation.com. He began performing again at clubs and events. This slow build culminated in 2024 when Rogers announced a return to worldwide touring. The career of Norman Terminator X, Rogers is a singular narrative in hip-hop history. He stands as a pioneering turntablist whose innovations were inextricably linked to Public Enemy's political mission. His aggressive scratching, was the sound of rebellion, a musical language articulating generational urgency and rage. His journey demonstrates the enduring power of artistic passion, ground down by injury and industry disillusionment. His retreat was self-preservation. Yet his eventual reemergence shows that with peer recognition and liberating technology, artists can find new ways back to what they love. The story of Terminator X is a testament to artistic integrity and a powerful example of an artist who walked away from the noise only to find decades later a new way to speak with his hands.